Hi crafters, a few months back I promised a few of you that I would do a coloring video. For the ones that do not know, about 9 years back, 9 or 10 years ago, I did a Copic course in Germany, and I became a Copic instructor. I worked with Copic for about 6 years, and I did a lot of demos in shops and on fairs and that kind of stuff. And then I stopped doing that because our uh, central heating kettle broke down. I sold all my Copics and I went over to pencils. I love the brand called Faber Castell. That's where I work with. So for the last about 4 or 5 years, I now color with Copic pastels. I have them both. There are two options. These, the Albrecht Durer. I don't know the exact pronunciation in English, but I work with watercolors, but I also work with the polychromos type of pencils. But when I watercolor, I use these pencils. And for the skin tones, because I just like them more than the pencils, I use these three Zig markers. And so you know the numbers that I use is 200, sorry, no, the correct numbers, oh, see, I'm a little bit rusty. I didn't do this for a long time, so I have to check the numbers. Oh yeah, 220, 069 and 071. Those three colors of Zig markers I use, and I only use them for the skin. Um, when I start coloring, I always put my pencils out and I will put them in front of me so I know the colors that I wanted to use. And what I do is I take a brush. I have a brush, Winsor & Newton. I have the number 3. And that's the pencil I like the most. But please make sure that you use a pencil, a brush that you like the most yourself. What I did at this moment, I took an image of a company that's called Magnolia. It's a Swedish company, if I'm not mistaken, and I love their images. I will zoom in so you can see it better and not have my big head in the way all the time. I just put on the 071, and then what I do is I put a little bit of color on the edges of her hairline. I think that's the best way I can explain it. And I do this very gently, very subtle, just to give her face more depth. Depth. Oh. See? And what I do, I always turn my images. And I do this because I think it's more easy that way to color. I don't say that the way I color is the right way. Everybody has his own taste and his own capabilities of coloring images. They just asked me to do a coloring video, so I thought, now my cat is sleeping, that's the perfect moment for me to show you what I do with my images and how I color them. When I'm a little bit quiet in between, I look if I'm still in focus, because sometimes when I color, I don't remember that there is a camera above me and I don't pay attention that I'm still in the frame. And while I'm coloring, I can explain what I do, but I think by looking at it, it's more than enough. But I will try to do my best and give you an idea why I do this. I take now the lighter color again, just to fade the harsh lines out. And in the beginning, that's my personal opinion, but in the beginning it does not look as good but when you have the image finished, I think it's always looking great. And sometimes I mess up, but I think that's normal. We crafters make mistakes, and why not? Then you can see that it's handmade, right? Oh, these last days were such difficult ones. Yesterday I called the specialist vet for my other cat, and next week she will undergo anesthetic and an ear, throat, and nose doctor will examine her, take some swabs, and try to figure out why she is shaking her head so much. And then we also will get an answer if she has asthma, or if the coughing that she does is coming from allergies, food allergies. It's a very expensive exam. It costs about $1,000, and I have the money together, but my goodness. But I can't think of the fact of losing her also. So I had to do a lot to get the money together, but I think she's worth it, and I'm a little bit nervous for the exam because she needs to go under anesthetic. Then I take a dark color, and this is 8200280, and then I always start with the hair. What I do, I put just a little tiny bit of color on the edges of the hair. That's how I do it, and I do not say that this is the best way to do it. I only can explain how I do it, and I always try to give my images a lot of depth. That's a hard word. Dimension. Let me say dimension, then you know what I mean, and for me that's easier to pronounce. So I go over the spots there I think are the darker spots, and then I will take my brush, dip it into water. I don't like those water brushes that contain water already inside. I always like to do it like this, because then I can spread the pencil lines where I want them to be. I think it's giving me more control over what I'm doing. And you will not see much of a fading, but it's because I barely put any color down onto the paper. And when you see your brush hairs go and spread, then it means that your brush is too dry. So then I always make it a little bit more wet again. And then I take a very light color brown, and I will barely touch the paper, so like this, barely touch the paper. It's only so the white is gone and I can make more dimension in the hair. So now you see that there's color everywhere and the white is almost gone. And this is the color number 182. And then I will take my darker color again, the same color that I used, and then I will put even down more color on the edges of the hair. And that way I will get a lot of dimension. And I know, trust me, I know there are people who can color way better than I do. I only wanted to show how I do it. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not an how to color video, it's how I do it video. See, and now you have a lot of dimension in the hair. It's like this part of the hair is popping up. And to make it a little bit more neat, I will spread out the color a little bit so you don't see those harsh edges on the lines that I put down. And I will fussy cut this lady out, so I don't worry about going out of the lines or something like that. Then I will take a red pencil, and this is number 217, and then I will start coloring her shirt. And what I do is I put down the color on the spots that I think are the darkest. And please make sure that if you color with these pencils, that you don't push too hard on your pencil. The reason why is then the spreading of the color is more difficult. These pencils are such a high quality and I really honestly love them. And trust me, I've used a lot of different color materials, but the reason I like these pencils a lot is because if you use a red pencil, the color that's coming out of the pencil, after diluting it with water, it will stay red and not turn into pink or a pinkish color. See, and now you see way better than when I dilute it with water that the spreading of the color is more visible. And it's months and months and months ago that I colored an image, so you can see that I struggle a little bit. I'm getting a little bit rusty. But I will try to do my best. And then I take a green pencil, and I always like a little or a green color that's more turning to an olive kind of color. And then I will put down some color so she gets a striped pants. Oh, what a week. Oh my goodness. Tomorrow, oh no, sorry, on Friday is my birthday. And My husband couldn't take a day off, so I will be home alone on my birthday. I always like when people come and visit, but since I live a long way from my family, the drive from them to me is so long that maybe I will see them in the weekend, I don't know. But I will survive. See, now I'm making the outer edges a little bit more darker, and by doing that you get more dimension in your image. And then the other parts I will do red color, so it matches her shirt. And I don't mind doing the green color first before the red color, but if you are uncertain about keeping in the lines with the darker color, then I advise you to do the darker color first before you do the green or the lighter color, whatever color you take, of course. And then this one I need to spread out a little bit more because the part that I need to cover is a little bit bigger. And what I do is I spread the color from the outside to the inside, and I wipe my brush clean when I go to the other side, so the sides will stay the darkest. See, because now I don't get so much dark color in the middle. See how it's turning out? I think she looks lovely. And I don't know why, normally I have enough to talk about, but when I'm coloring I'm always more quiet. And then I have to imagine, oh wait, you guys are listening to me, so I need to tell you what I'm doing. But I don't know why that is. It makes me zoom or tune out. That's the best way I can say it. See, and I spread the color from the side that I put it down, and then you will get those darker and lighter spots on the drawing. And then I think the center part will be fun if I do that in the green color. So I put a little bit of green down, and then I water it down. And if the color is not enough, what I can do is I can tip the tip of my pencil and put it down like this, and then you have the green in the middle. I always like to give her like a kind of brownish gray shoes. Now I take color 178 and I put a little bit of color down. And then spread it out again. So when I put the color down, I wet my brush and then spread out the color that I put down on the edges. I know, know a lady who can color way better than I do. Um, I will put her link in the description box below. She does not make coloring videos, but I like her coloring style. Her name is Tamara, and my gosh, that lady can color the way I like it, let me say it like that. I know we have all different tastes and styles, and that's not a problem at all. I'm just telling you what I like myself a lot. I think her way of coloring and making cards, I wish I could. And then I go over to those darker spots where I think there needs to be more color. So that way I get more depth and definition in my images. And I'm going over with the water just to dilute it a little bit. So this is how I would color my images, and I'm not 100% satisfied. I know I can do better, but at this point my brain, and you know all why, and I'm not going to bore you with my stories again, but I just wanted to do this video to give the people who are waiting for it so long an idea on how I color my images. I'm not the best, I know, but it gives me joy, and I think that's the most important thing, right? So now my image is finished, and I will cut her out and use her on a card, and in honor for my sweet Lizzie that I miss a lot each and every day. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day, and if you have any questions, leave them in the description box below. Bye bye.